Well, hello. What is going on? Welcome into the FanDuel Racing Channel. Joaquin Jaime, Dubs Anderson, getting you up to speed with a monster weekend. Let's just call it Super Saturday out the gates. Arkansas Derby, Florida Derby. It is crunch time for all of the Derby hopefuls in trying to punch that ticket towards the first Saturday, May. We're going to go over the fields. We're going to go over big trends, best bets, everything you guys need to know. Hopefully back a couple of winners.
Yeah, now as we progress into the Kentucky Derby Championship Series, going back to last weekend, we had our very first two races that awarded 100 qualifying points to the winner of those races to the Kentucky Derby. Two more coming up this weekend to still a race in the Breeders' Cup. These are essentially win in your wins to occupy a space in that starting gate on the first Saturday in May.
May not even have to win these big races. The top three, the top four, that could likely be enough. And speaking of superstars squaring off on Saturday, let's get one into the mix here. The People's Champ, Andie Biancone, joining us live. AB, get us up to speed. Tell the viewers, where are you joining us from and what have you been up to today?
Oh man, well things are heating up here in Hot Springs, literally, like literally and metaphorically. Like the energy at the track, insane. This is the biggest week at Oaklawn Park. So there's tents up in the infield, there's designated training times for fantasy and Arkansas Derby horses. There's a ton of people out watching the horses every morning. So super cool environment, at least in the morning so far. And like 80-degree weather, like galloped horses in a t-shirt this morning. It was awesome.
And Andy, can you feel like that buzz? You know, Joaquin and myself, we've been covering the big previews all week long, but it really feels like this is go time for all of the Kentucky Derby hopefuls in trying to punch their ticket and cement themselves as the big contenders this year.
Absolutely. When the saddle towels come out in the morning, it is gay. I get hype. I'm like, oh my gosh, the saddle towels. So I don't know if that's just the horse girl in me or something, but I mean, things are really heating up. We're getting closer to that time of year.
I love it. And, you know, side note, I'm big on the merch. Can you get me a saddlecloth from the Arkansas Derby this weekend? Doesn't have to be the winner, just a saddlecloth.
Just a saddlecloth. He's not asking for much, Andy.
Just smuggle one from some hardworking groom who like.
All right, delete that comment. But I tell you what, we're going to put you on the spot for some best bets. We're going to circle these fields ahead of the marquee events coming up this weekend. Let's start with the Grade 1 Curlin Florida Derby. They'll be going the distance of 9 panels, a mile and an eighth, and we've got a field of 10 lining up for this one. And Andy, it's going to be very tough in going against Sovereignty. It was very impressive last out in the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah, and I went ahead and picked him as my top pick. We see him here in the Fountain of Youth. He was really only at 70% fitness here, but was still good enough to get the job done, and huge rally from behind on a track where it's very difficult to do that kind of move.
Yeah, and taking a look at this move, Joaquin, with more improvement, could be tough to beat.
And just picking up what Andy was just mentioning right there, look at the things that Sovereignty was trying to overcome that day. A layoff of just over 4 months. The track profile at Gulfstream Park generally does not play kind to horses like him, rallying from off the pace. He had to deal with the short stretch there at Gulfstream Park, and this horse is still running that he's got to get to. And River Thames on the front end right there. We know he missed some training time going into his seasonal debut. All things considered, this was a bang-up performance in a race that exceeded my expectations for him for a seasonal debut.
Yeah, it was on the radar there. Broke the maiden out of Churchill Downs. So that's certainly going to bode well if we can get into the starting gate for the first Saturday in May, and likely going to get a lot of buzz from what we saw last out in the Fountain of Youth. So Sovereignty is actually going to be right at the top of the billing here for me. But a couple of big storylines coming in for this one, Andy. Traditionally, a strong form line going into the Kentucky Derby, and there's a big name with a big return beneath the Twin Spires, Bob Baffert, who conditions Maddercat Road. What's going on for Maddercat Road? Is this the race where we finally see this horse figure it out?
I mean, he certainly could, and I think with his style, he's well suited to Gulfstream Park. He's clearly a horse who has a lot of speed. There's, Gulfstream is known for having that shorter stretch and whatnot, and he kind of draws a good post. So he's definitely one to look out for, I would say.
Joaquin, always been plenty of promise.
The talent has always been there. That was a good second place finish in the Rebel. A couple things on Saturday is the fact that when Bob Baffert takes the blinkers off, it's a move that he hits at such a high percentage with. You have Mike Smith, that's going to be the new replacement jockey here for the injured Tyler Gaffleone, and it seems pretty straightforward now too. With all the other speed signed on to his inside, he's going to be getting that tracking trip, maybe laying a close second. If they decide to go ahead and ease back just a little bit, he should get a really good trip in here with all the other speed to his inside.
And you're certainly not going to lose anything with big money Mike Smith taking over the riding duties from an injured Tyler Gaffleone. Pace makes the race, Andy. In terms of the early speed, I think Joaquin's spot on that we will see it from Madaket Road. Expectations here right alongside from Tappan Street.
Yeah, I think Tappan Street will certainly be part of the early pace. You kind of see him struggle here on the inside of Burnham Square. I don't know. And I'm kind of against Burnham Square. I just don't think he's that much of a horse. I think this was a really weak field in the Holy Bull.
Don't tell Larry Comas. Don't tell Larry
I
Comas.
know,
That's
they're
a hot take,
so
Andy.
on the Burnham. I don't like Ian doesn't even like Burnham Square that much. Like he debuted him for a maiden claiming at Keeneland. Like he's not that good. So I think I'd be more inclined to go with Madaket Road than Tappan Street. But like I said, Sovereignty, my top pick. And I feel terrible for Junior Alvarado and Tyler Gaffleone, who both got injured before this huge week. Obviously, the horses are in good hands under Mike Smith and Manny Franco, but it's definitely sad to see, especially Junior not being on Sovereignty after that big win.
In terms of new shooters, fresh faces, let's start with Disruptor, $1 million Keeneland yearling, just making start number 3, untested at the distance, but looked very impressive and breaking the maiden last out right here at Gulfstream.
Yeah, this is start number 2 on March 1st. This was going 7 furlongs. He lost his debut after setting the pace. He tired and finished 3rd, but then Disruptor going to break his maiden by 9 lengths on March 1st. And he's a son of gun runner, purchased for $1.1 million out of the Keeneland September yearling sale. This is a stiff test. Start number 3, stepping up into to a grade 1 event, and also getting the first time going 2 turns as well. So he's taken on some experienced horses in here, so he does lack a little seasoning taking on other competition.
Andy, is that offset with Todd Pletcher having so much success in this race, winning 3 of the last 4? Can we expect this young runner to be primed up in start number 3?
I certainly think he should be taken seriously. Clearly, he has the makings of a good horse. He's a beautiful horse, to say the very least. We see him here chilling at Palm Beach Downs, and I actually think he's one who will relish the distance.
Yeah, I think looking to take a big step. And, Joaquin, with a big performance in this race, suddenly you're off the leaderboard. You can, just like that, in the space of less than 2 minutes, become one of the big threats ahead of this year's Derby.
Yeah, just the way the sliding scale is on the points. I mean, you can have 0 points going into a race like this. And even if you don't win, even if you gobble up, say, second and still got 50 qualifying points, that still could be enough in here. But you have to have a good showing. And based off that performance, clearly the talent is there for Disruptor.
Andy, are there any other standouts, faces that you're looking forward to watch in the Derby coming up on Saturday? Who's going to be that pick?
For the Florida Derby or Arkansas Derby? Florida Derby?
Florida Derby.
Sovereignty is my top pick. I love him. Granted, a little bit, of an Achilles heel moment with Junior being out of the tack and the outside post, but I just think physically, from all the horses I've seen down in Florida, he's been the standout so far. And the way he won the Fountain of Youth, being only at 70% fitness, coming with a big rally. I mean, he was not even in the picture at the 3/8 pole, and he still was able to close. It really showed some ability there. So he's going to be my top pick.
Joaquin, who's the one for you?
I'm going to take the horse coming in from Southern California. Sign me up for Madaket Road in here. I thought it was a very good second place finish behind Cold Battle, what we showed in his most recent start. I think the blinkers coming off are going to help him. He went really fast in that most recent start in the Rebel Stakes. I think the blinkers coming off is going to help him relax, fall in a nice smooth rhythm down the backstretch. And I mentioned all the other speed towards his inside. I'll look for Madaket Road for me in the Florida Derby.
I like it. This is where the class is stepping up, trying to prevail. And if you're watching watching along with us here, sound off. Let us know in the chat. Tag us all. Who's going to win the 2025 Florida Derby out of Gulfstream Park? I'm seeing it the same as Andie B here. I think it does run through Sovereignty. Jimmy's Dailies is a runner with a bit of intrigue. Really haven't seen anything at this level. Got the stretch out to 2 turns. Last out showed a bit of that early get out from the gate, and with a bit more fitness could look to outrun that number. So that's the price play. A little chalky with that top selection, but that is the Curlin Florida Derby on what looks to be a super Saturday card from Gulfstream Park.
Oh, top to bottom, from race 1 to race 14. It's always a fantastic afternoon as we wind down that championship meeting out there in South Florida.
Let's take a look at the Gulfstream Park Oaks. The grade 2 score, just a field of 7 going forward for this one. In Andie B, no one knows these horses better than yourself. In terms of the girls, has there been a standout of this bunch? It feels like they're all trying to prove something.
I really like 5G. She was impressive winning the cash run at Gulfstream. Went over to Oaklawn and was a really valiant second behind Quiet Side in the Honeybee Stakes, but she had to manage the extreme outside post, which is very difficult to do at Oaklawn. She drew post position 13, had to make that huge move to clear, was part of the pace, and just got beat by a very talented filly in her own regard. So 5G is my top pick. We know she likes Gulfstream, and I think she's proven that she likes the 2 turns in the Honeybee. It was just unfortunate she drew that outside post.
Couple of runners stepping up in grade for this one, but certainly trending in the right direction. The Queen's MG will start from post position 3. Irad Ortiz aboard for Safi Joseph.
Yeah, she's banked over $422,000 in her career. She was just a $3,500 purchase at auction. After her career debut, where she upset the field at 45-1 at Keeneland, she was a private purchase out of that race for her new connections. And she's the only horse in her last couple races that has progressed through the Kentucky Oaks points races there at Gulfstream Park. She's the only filly that is going to run in all 3 prep races. She won nicely in the Devona Dale Dubs. I questioned her a little bit more on the stretch out and distance if she can see out the 2 turns at 8.5 furlongs.
And Andie, how important is that for a lot of these horses, especially for the fillies, in terms of showing that development from start 2 to start 3 in terms of trying to shape up for the first Friday?
It's huge. And as Joaquin said, I think the distance was a huge question mark for me last time out with the Queen's MG. But the Safi Joseph team, they are very, very convinced that this filly wants a round of ground and that things are going to actually get easier for her as the distance stretches out. And I think she proved herself last time out. But the C2 connections, Safi, they were like, oh, boom, like stretch out and distance. Thank goodness she's been crying for it. I'm like, okay, cool. Good to know.
Well, that's certainly going to be fantastic inside. And what an afternoon we have out there in South Florida. Florida Derby Day. You can watch it all over at FanDuel TV. Wager at FanDuel Racing. Sound off. If you've got a pick for the Florida Derby, I hope you do. If you're getting chalky, if you're playing against, best of luck. And for the Oaks there as well, we want to hear about it, Joaquin.
For the Gulfstream Park Oaks, I'll probably settle on 5G. I'm not fully there just yet. I'll dig into the film a little bit more, but most likely go into 5G, who probably is going to be the morning line favorite.
Yeah, going to be very tough to beat. And take a look at that lineup out there live on site. Joaquin's about to head to the airport to pick up more of those miles. Andie, before we transition out to where you're joining us here this afternoon, who takes out the Oaks? We've got your Derby pick. We both think it's going to be Sovereignty, but in terms of the Oaks, do we get chalky?
Yes, we're chalky. 5G. I'm with Joaquin.
Okay, you're allowed to do that, but for the next set of questions, we're chasing absolute monsters. So, Andie, let's transition. Let's get it out to Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby coming up on Saturday afternoon. A field of 9 runners going forward for this one, and we've seen a couple of runners already proven on the trail. We've got a couple of question marks, some of the big names in the sport. Cornucopian, Baffert, very tough to beat from what we have seen. Pedigree in bunches. You've got Coal Battle for Lonnie Briley, a small bun pointed towards a big dance. But let's start with Coal Battle. Continues to make me look silly, Andie, and you're probably saying, well, that's easy done, but a fantastic looking horse.
Oh my gosh, Dubs, he's made me look so silly this whole time, and I'm not sleeping on him. Coal Battle last time out in the Rebel, I swear, made me eat my words because this whole time he's a very blue collar horse. Okay. Fun fact about him, he was actually supposed to be a Louisiana bred, but they didn't have room for his mother to go onto the van from Kentucky to Louisiana. So they just left her in Kentucky. So he's by miracle a Kentucky bred. Then Lonnie Briley fell in love with him at the Texas sale, was like, I need this horse. I love him. And he was dead right. They got him for 70,000. They probably would have got him for cheaper. But there was another lady who liked him a lot as well. But just a blue collar horse. He tries hard every time. One thing I do like about Coal Battle, you see him in the paddock. He's a very well put together, nice horse. He's got a good walk, but he definitely lacks that size and substance of, per se, a champion. Then you put the tack on him, you put the rider on him, you see him on the track, and he grows 3 inches all around. So just seeing his effort last time out in the Rebel, I think it showed his versatility. He can come from off the pace. He can be forward. He's just a game, gritty, blue-collar horse with a lot of experience, and I am jumping onto the Coal Battle bandwagon now.
Joaquin, what do you make from what you have seen? 4 wins in a row, 3 Derby preps.
The word that comes to mind for me for Coal Battle is gamer.
Yeah.
He just shows up in the afternoon. He rarely runs a dud and puts in a subpar performance. He's never lost on the dirt. He's a perfect 5 for 5 on the main track. Fantastic story for his trainer, Lonnie Briley. That was his first graded stakes win ever as a trainer when he won the Rebel Stakes. And he's versatile. He can come from off the pace. He could set the pace if it's slow. He's just a gamer. He just shows up on game time.
Lonnie Briley looks to be one of the characters in the game. Certainly would welcome a cold beverage with star conditioner. And look, Coal Battle going to be one of the top threats here. The colt has been nothing short of fantastic. But let's talk about some of the other threats here. Now, Andie, Cornucopian, well, we'll go to Sandman first here. Before we get to the Baffert runner here, we'll go back to Cornucopian.
Hot route. Where are we going? We'll stay on Cornucopian.
This is why I need a rundown. Sorry to the producing team. Cornucopian, lightly race, Bob Baffert, massive price tag, pedigree in bunches, and looks fantastic from what we saw in Breaking the Maiden.
I mean, look at this performance here. Drawing off, winning by nearly 6 lengths. He's another one of the many talented into mischiefs in this 3-year-old crop. He was purchased for over $1.1 million. Over the last few years, we've actually seen Bob Baffert do this multiple times. And I'm saying a lightly raced horse win a grade 1 in either their second or third career start. Justify, he won the Santa Anita Derby in start number 3. Taba won the Santa Anita Derby and just start number 2. If there's anybody that can have a horse win a grade 1 race in their second career start, it's the Hall of Famer Bob Baffert.
Bob Baffert knows how to do it. Andie, it'll be the first test at the distance. That debut was at the 6 furlongs. Cornucopian likely going to have to get the lead in this one.
I think so, but the track at Oaklawn, all meet has been quite speed biased, so that certainly works in Cornucopian's favor. But as Joaquin said, some of these, like Baffert, is capable of getting a horse to win a maiden race and then go on to win a grade 1 right after that. But it's because they are such good horses. Like, you have to be an incredibly talented horse like a Justify or a Taba to accomplish that. So if Cornucopian is able to win in this spot, it really is going to show how dominant he really is. But it's kind of tough. Like, you have to pick like a blue collar horse like Coal Battle. He's got a ton of experience. He's danced every dance. This is kind of where experience versus talent, and you have to pick which one you're going to go with. In this case, I decided to go with Coal Battle just because Cornucopian is beautiful. Do I think he's Justify? At this point, no. If he wins this, I'll be eating my words. But yeah, that's kind of my take on those two.
That's the great thing about what we're doing here for Florida Derby, Arkansas Derby handicapping edition here. Jump in, sound off, let us know if we're seeing it the same. But, experience against talent, Sandman's got it in bunches, has been knocking on the door in some of the biggest races on the trail. We saw it in the Rebel. We saw it in the Southwest. What needs to go in favor to finally take that breakthrough step on the big stage?
I think one, he's going to need the pace. He's a horse that rallies from pretty far back. So one, he's always going to need some pace to run into. And two, maybe I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but maybe he can sit just a little bit closer, not give himself too much work to do. The added ground, at least for me, Andy, is really going to help Sandman. He's been at a mile on his 16th, Andy, in his last 2 starts. For that closing kick, the 9 furlongs is really going to suit him in my mind.
100% Joaquin. I mean, you see him gallop out past everybody in the Rebel. He just needs to stop falling out of the gate and sky leaping out of the gate and doing weird stuff out of the gate. No question, this horse is getting better with every run. He's kind of typical Tappet, like gonna get better with experience. It was funny. Mark Cassie's assistant Caden was telling me last month, like, oh, the connections we're thinking about after Churchill giving this horse a bit of time off, etc. And Mark Cassie's like, no. Like he needs to keep running, keep doing. He needs to do his homework. This is not a kid who needs any vacation. Like he needs to be at tutoring after school every day. Kumon, like not skipping steps. So I relate, Sandman. But that was me.
Andy,
but
you would have been a star student. We ain't buying that you were skipping classes and calling early marks on yourself. Not a chance. And for all the guys, we see you in the chat. Sound off. Let us know top selections. I guess Speed King is the other runner. Wouldn't mind getting thoughts on. If you like Sandman, you'd have to take it back to the Southwest where Speed King got it done. And I tell you what, if we're talking pace scenario, I'm going to set the table.
I mean, that was the race in which Sandman completely blew the break in the Southwest, and he flew at him to finish second. And Speed King got cushy fractions that day, going a half mile in 47-4. I mean, Andy, do you know what happened to Speed King at his most recent start? I mean, he was bet down to 6-1. I thought he was going to come with a good race that day, and he finished 10th in a field of 13, at least from everything I could see on paper. Visually, I mean, it doesn't look like there was that much of an excuse for Speed King in the Rebel.
Dude, that outside post at Oaklawn, ooh, is that tough? It is. Yeah. That is personally what I attribute it to. Horses you have to be a very talented horse to overcome that outside post. And Speed King, I'm rooting for him. I love his owner, Ted Bowman. I love Ron Moquet. He's a very cool horse. But again, he needs kind of everything to go his way because he maybe lacks a little bit of talent in comparison to the rest of the field, but can get it done if everything goes his way. He's kind of just like a big galloping type. I don't really see him as one with a massive turn of foot. He doesn't get any faster. He has to be involved and be up there and keep grinding.
All right, next part of the equation, I'm going to ask both of you for why the next horse can win. Andy, you're tasked with First Division. You're batting lead off, and then Joaquin's going to make the case for Publisher. First Division, this weekend, the Arkansas Derby. Why could we see this colt win the race?
Okay, so Publisher gets blinkers this time out, and I think that's really going to help him. He checked so far back last time out going into the first turn, and the horse almost kind of checked himself. He was like, horses spy, like, ee! So blinkers on, those are going to help him keep focused, not be so intimidated by other horses. This is a very talented horse. I think he's had some brutal trips coming into the Arkansas Derby. Like if you're going through horses with troubled trips, he's got to have had the worst of them coming into this spot. So Publisher, a sneaky price horse. The talent is there. Flavian rides back. He did make up a lot of ground last time out in the Rebel. I definitely think with those blinkers, getting involved early, he is one to watch.
I like it. All right, so that's Publisher, First Division. Flip-flop. You get First Division.
I mean, First Division, he's a horse that rallies from really far back, at least in his last couple of starts. This is going to be his stakes debut. The thing that can help him is Brian Hernandez. And Brian Hernandez is a phenomenal jockey. And so is Julian Leperoux. He's been aboard him in all three. But Brian, we've seen him time and time again be able to work out a trip somehow, a la Mystic Dan in the Kentucky Derby last year. So if he can work out a trip with Brian, maybe he can catch a price.
Yeah, this time of year trending in the right direction. All right, so that's they're the big contenders from the Arkansas Derby. Andy, final thoughts here. Who's taking out the big event?
I'm gonna go Coal Battle. Blue Collar.
Ooh.
Let's go.
You
I'm
learned
on
your
the
lesson.
bandwagon.
I haven't, Andy. Joaquin, who wins it?
The horse who's never won a race in his career. publisher is going to break his maiden in the Arkansas Derby.
And what a stage to do it on.
Right.
What a gallery we have awaiting for us out there at Hot Springs, Arkansas. You can watch it all on FanDuel TV. You can wager at FanDuel Racing. Like, subscribe, share underneath 4 of the best, including the People's Champ, Andie Biancone. Andy, any book signings, any merch giveaways out there on track this weekend?
Merch giveaways? What? No, nobody would want my signature. Come on. Everyone's going to be lining up for Lord Hazelton.
Lord Hazelton. I was with Scotty, the birthday boy, there yesterday. So the Arkansas Derby coming up, and also the Fantasy Stakes with Oaks points on the line. Sound off if you're joining us here this afternoon. If you're in the chat, we want best bets. We're going to round it out here with the Fantasy Stakes. Run for the Lilies. Race number 12, this one going off. Pick up enough points, cash that ticket. This looks to be one of the tougher fields that we've seen on the Oaks Trail, Andy. Is there a runner that stands out for you?
This is tough. Simply Joking has been extremely impressive. Granted, her workmate was a little bit dismal out at the fairgrounds, but she's been a very nice filly. Quiet Side, we know she's proven on the track. She had things go her way last time out in the Honeybee Stakes and was quite impressive. But there's plenty of value in there that I'll make a case for later.
Oh, I like that.
Oh.
Yeah, we're taking a look at Quiet Side win the Honeybee right here. She upsets the field at odds of 10-1. She's been incredibly consistent throughout her career. 6 lifetime starts. She's never been worse than third. Now she's looking for back-to-back rated stakes wins.
Career best speed figure last out there as well. So Quiet Side coming in for John Ortiz. John actually getting aboard for some of the morning works. You can see that feature on the FanDuel Racing channels here as well. Jose Ortiz will be tasked with the riding duties, but Quiet Side looks to be a very tough out from what we saw last out in the Honeybee. In terms of the big contenders, some of the big trainers lining up for this one, Take Charge Milady from the inside, Brian Hernandez for Kenny McPeak, the dynamic duo. Didn't have it in the Honeybee last out, but we'll look to capture that form that we saw in the 2 starts prior.
Yeah, I definitely think it's interesting. Brian getting on top of her. Granted, I think Julian has been doing a great job with her throughout the course of this meet. She's kind of an interesting filly. She's a little bit quirky, and she does have some gas pedal, though, so that'll certainly be helpful. And I do think the rail post actually helps her. But she wasn't my top pick. I think Simply Joking and Quiet Side are just a little better quality-wise. And price horses, I like Necessity and Princess Aaliyah.
Necessity, 10-1 on the morning line.
What
do you like about Necessity?
Here's the sell.
Okay, so I might be a little biased because
you're galloping her out.
No,
you're galloping her out.
I'm not. No. Wait. I was galloping her all summer for Norm. She is the goofiest, quirkiest little filly. Like I don't even think they've got. This might finally just be we've entered like bottom level of her. But she has done some quirky things in the past, and she's really starting to put everything together. She was 4th last time out in the Honeybee at like 60-1, and I definitely see a huge physical change with her from the Honeybee to the Fantasy. Like, I saw her galloping this morning. I mean, I thought she looked better than Simply Joking. I was like, dang, Necessity, you're looking good. She's getting that pump. She's, really developing the right way. And like I said, a lot of things to overcome. She was really goofy, really quirky. One time, I think this was like 3 starts back, the race before she broke her maiden, she drew the outside post, the gates popped open, and she did a Sandman. Like, she jumped over some tire tracks. She was like, ah! And then she spotted the field like 2 poles. Like, it was dismal, and then came with a huge run to finish 4th, and we were like, holy crap, like, she's got some ability. Then she broke her maiden impressively the next time out, and she's just been game ever since. And I think she's possible of sitting a forward trip as well. I just like the way she's been progressing, and I think it's a wide open Fantasy Stakes.
Simply joking, going to get a lot of buzz come kickoff here, Joaquin. 2 starts, 2 very impressive wins there for Whit Beckman and the team. Should be the one to beat. Enough to take your dollars?
Yeah, because I liked her when she was supposed to run in mid-February in the Rachel Alexandra on Risen Star night. She scratched out of that race. You can clearly see she's had a little bit of a hiccup in her work tab when she worked on February 8th, was supposed to run on February 15th. She scratched out of that race, and then she didn't jump back on the tab until March 2nd. So she's missed some time, but since she's had that little bit of a hiccup, it looks like she hasn't missed a beat in the mornings now. So simply joking, she's undefeated. She's a perfect 2 for 2. She even broke her maiden in a stakes race to tell you the amount of talent that she has. So I'll go right back to her in the fantasy.
I think you've seen it well there. Andie B, give us the final selection. Who's taking out the fantasy out there at Hot Springs on Saturday?
This sucks because like I
3,
want to say
2,
quiet
go
size,
on.
but
Final
you know what?
selection.
I'm just gonna go with necessity. That's my top pick. But wait. Can I share a really quick story on Princess Aaliyah? Super fast.
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, so weird. I'm at the barn this morning. I'm walking through,
Shock.
and I saw Wayne Lucas. I'm like, oh yeah, we just got some B-roll of Princess Aaliyah. And he's like, oh my gosh, she reminds me so much of her grandmother. I'm like, who's her grandmother? He's like, Winning Colors. I'm like,
Wow.
whoa, hold back. I was like, wait a second. I like turned right around. But Wayne Lucas won the 1988 Kentucky Derby with Winning Colors, who was a filly. And this is her granddaughter, who was a $1.2 million purchase. And funny story, Gary Stevens rode Winning Colors to win the Kentucky Derby. And Gary Stevens is Nick Juarez's agent now, and Nick Juarez is riding Princess Aaliyah. So horse racing is crazy. That's all I can say, period.
And Winning Colors was a gray.
Yeah.
Princess Aaliyah, also a gray.
I feel like we probably could have started
There we
there.
go.
Andy.
Yeah.
we could have started. Hey, fantastic stuff. As always, we got full on-site coverage coming up Friday through Sunday out there at Hot Springs, Arkansas. Andie B joined by 3 of the best, MJ, Scotty Hazelton, and Simon Bray. Sound off in the chat, like, subscribe, share, hit us down below, hit us on the side, let us know who's winning the big events coming up this weekend. It is crunch time for the Derby and the Oaks hopefuls. Andie B, as always, appreciate you making the time for us. Hardest working person in the business, always doing it with a smile on your face and always coming up with plenty of winners. So thank you, Andie.
Thanks, Andy.
We appreciate
it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
People's Champ signing off. Joaquin Jaime, Dubs Anderson. There's plenty going on. I'll see you tomorrow.
No, you will see me or talk to me from Gulfstream Park.
We will see Joaquin. We will see you guys Super Saturday.